says the gathering's preparatory process has been flawed.
Supposed to be made available should have been used for a comprehensive communication strategy to inform people what the national dialogue seeks to achieve, and also to give communities the opportunity to come together to elect representatives at the National Convention.
83 suspected illegal miners arrested in the Sheba gold mine in Barberton in South Africa's Mpumalanga province have been granted bail of $113 each. Over 400 suspects, including South Africans and individuals from other countries, appeared at the Barberton Magistrates Court yesterday. They were arrested during a police-led operation, Valumkoti, at the mine. The suspects face charges of violating the Immigration Act and trespassing, while some have also been charged with possession of gold-bearing materials. The case has been postponed to various dates in August for potential applications for those who were remanded in custody. Those who were granted bail are expected to return to court on the 2nd and 3rd of September for the contents of the dockets. The UN Women Representative in Sudan, Salvatore Nkurunziza, says violent conflict between forces of the Sudanese military and their rival Rapid Support Forces militia rages for its third year, with women facing the brunt of the humanitarian crisis. Nkurunziza explains the struggles women face in Sudan and the solutions that can be implemented.
According to the recent gender snapshot, nearly 26% of all female-headed households are now experiencing severe food insecurity compared to just 14 1 year ago. To make the response more gender responsive, we need to move beyond rhetoric into action and move now to ensure access to various locations, include conflict-affected areas, and ensure the reinforcement of protection of women and girls and the humanitarian workers.
South Korean intelligence officials say they believe more than 50,000 North Korean labourers are being sent to Russia to work in slave-like conditions. The BBC's Jean Mackenzie has the story.
With many of Russia's young men killed fighting in Ukraine or having fled the country, thousands of North Koreans are being sent to fill the gap, mainly to work on construction sites. A South Korean intelligence official told me 10,000 arrived last year, and in total they believe Pyongyang will send more than 50,000.
For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Cholani Tulo-Mwebe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
It is 6 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Good afternoon and welcome to The Upside on Channel Africa, The African Perspective with Tebogo, Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko, Mosito. Coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Happy Tuesday and thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. Catch us on our DSTV channel 802, OpenView channel 628 or on the SABC Plus app. Download it on your Android or iOS device so you can take us with you wherever you go, and stream us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok and on X. It's a good afternoon to you, Mmatsheko, Mosito. How are you doing this afternoon?
When you said South Africa, I started to think about TKZ. South Africa, hey, ta-da!
Do we even have that song, actually?
I mean, we should actually find it.
Immediately after this intro.
So in the context of us being continental, it's Africa, hey, ta-da! Listen, it's a beautiful day.
I tell you
beautiful
what,
day.
when you went to about TKZ, I realized that there's a whole generation that don't know who TKZ is. Do you realize this? Because when we say 20 years ago, there was a time when we said 20 years ago. 20 years ago was 1980, 1970. Now when you say 20 years ago, it's 2005.
It's around the corner.
That generation, do you think they know who TKZ is?
They have absolutely no idea. So TKZ is a 3-piece Kwaito band. That's another thing we've got to explain now, what Kwaito is. But yes, they were really big when we looked at, it was kind of like the Mapiano of the 90s.
Yes.
If I could maybe
100%,
simplify things. Music from the southwestern townships of South Africa that just blew up in the most incredible way. But then there was no Twitter or Instagram or anything like so the music didn't get an opportunity to go global in a traditional sense.
Yep.
But it went national, you know, which was big enough back in that day.
100%.
Yeah.
And Pastor Kabelo was part of that.
Pastor Kabelo Mabalane. He's come full circle.
He was a whole Kwaito star, man, back in the days. Now he's a pastor. What a transition. And I tell you what, his lifestyle also was something that inspired me. Because remember, he started running. He was a bit chubby in the earlier years.
And on drugs.
And on drugs, alcohol, TKZ years. But then all of a sudden, during I can't remember what time it was, but then he went through that entire lifestyle change. He started running, jogging, even had a television show where he was putting people through a boot camp, and now he's a pastor. What a transformative story that was. Anyway, but that's not what the show is about today. Today we ask the question, how is print media? It's one of our conversations today. How is print media adapting to this digital world that we find ourselves in? I was asking Lulu earlier, when last did you buy a magazine? When last did you buy a newspaper? Can you remember the last time you bought a newspaper?
I'm such a quaint person, and even for me, it's just difficult for me to think of when was the last time I actually bought a physical newspaper, because also they're like difficult to find now.
I haven't been in a store,
like,
so I wouldn't know.
They're kind of like hard to find now. Good quality newspapers, but I haven't done so in a minute. You know, everything is here now.
100%.
I want to read an article, send me a link.
100%.
And that's how I go about it. But I really love the tradition of print. But that's, of course, now dying slowly but surely. So I think
it's evolving. Don't you think it's evolving? They're
actually,
finding
that's
ways
a better word. Yeah, I like that word. It's evolving into something bigger, bigger, because it means that whatever that was on print for, you know, a smaller community, a smaller, demographic or element, it can now spread bigger and be found in other places in the world, which I think is an advantage in this digital age.
I love that. I was thinking of the agricultural space, farmers' magazines. They're now accessible to everyone. If you were thinking about it, now you can access it online. But it's 11 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Let us know where you are streaming us from this afternoon, anywhere around the world. +27 634 406 9126. Welcome to The Upside.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday 23rd of July for Hard Talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
You're like the beautiful sunrise in the morning. When I look into your eyes, you mesmerize me. Oh, you remind me that I am lucky, lucky. You're the one and I'm gonna live my life with. I just wanna spend it all with you and grow with you and live and laugh with you. Oh yeah. I just wanna spend it all with you and grow all with you and live and laugh with you. Oh yeah. Show me up, show me to the world. I wanna live my life with you. Show me up, show me to the world. I wanna live my life with you. You are the one, you are my heart. You are the one, you rock my day. You are the sun about my way. I never need to lose my way. You are the apple of my eye. You are the highlight every day. You are the one who makes me happy every day. You give me joy. You make me smile. You make me laugh away my worries. You give me reason to be alive. I just wanna spend it all with you and grow with you and be in love with you. Oh yeah. I just wanna live it up with you and grow all with you and be in love with you. Oh yeah. So why don't you show me out? Show me to the world. I wanna live my life with you. Show me out. Show me to the world. I wanna live my life with you. Show me out. Show me to the world. I wanna live my life with you. Show me up, show me to the world. I wanna live my life with you. I wanna live my life with you.
16 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Kicking us off on the upside this afternoon, Asha with Show Me Off. I had to make sure.
You want the people to show you off to see you.
I had to make sure that we are showing off our best pieces. I was checking if that camera was directly pointing at you, because we must show you off, Mmatsheko, to the African continent and show off our lovely studio to you listening in at home. Thank you so much for tuning into the Upside this afternoon on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. We'll be with you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get into our first conversation about getting back that pre-baby body after you have given birth. How tough must that really be? As a guy, I can't relate, so I'll be listening in and learning quite a bit.
It's going to be an interesting conversation, okay? Because we are seeing more mothers take control of how they look. It's about how you look, how you walk, how you talk.
Come on now.
So this stuff is important, okay? And it's an investment in yourself. It is an investment in your self-esteem. Yeah. Many women are exploring the idea of mommy makeovers, which offer a way to restore the body after pregnancy, childbirth, breastfeeding as well. So this is essentially, it's, as I understand it, it's not a single procedure, okay? But a personalized combination of surgeries that are designed to address areas such as the breast. But also, I would imagine women have different needs and different things that they want to attend to. So breasts is one of them, the abdomen, waistline. For some, it's a combination of all three, and sometimes even the thighs and intimate areas. So by combining these treatments into one session, recovery time is reduced. So it looks like there's benefits to this. Recovery time is reduced and the results are more balanced. Dr. Charles Seruria is a specialist cosmetic and plastic reconstructive surgeon, and he ensures that each mommy makeover is tailored to the patient's needs after or rather, and there's a big safety focus, as it were, on this. So let's talk about the procedure. Let's talk about all the frequently asked questions about the surgery. But I wanted to take a quick break and come back with Dr. Charles after this.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Mmatsheko Mosito and Tebogo Lekhuleni on the upside.
19 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. We are talking about having a mommy makeover, getting that pre-baby body back using different means, including reconstructive surgery. And we are joined on the line by specialist cosmetic and plastic reconstructive surgeon, Dr. Charles Seruria. Dr. Charles, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the Upside.
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Tebogo, and it's a pleasure to be here, and welcome to the rest of Africa. Hopefully I can share some secrets and dispel some myths.
Oh, we would love that. Let's start off, Dr. Charles, with what exactly is a mommy makeover? Because when we think about, a mother having just given birth, a lot of the times we would think natural ways of restoring the body, right? Exercising, eating healthy, and so on and so forth. But we hardly think about reconstructive surgery. Take us through the mommy makeover procedure and the different phases thereof.
Well, Tebogo, you're hitting the nail on the head. One needs to institute an integrative plan where one is restoring the shape of the body, and that's multimodality, okay? Because there are a whole lot of different things that occur during pregnancies, and a lot of it is reversible, but some of it isn't reversible. And the main issue that we tend to see is the stretching out of the linea alba, which is the ligament that connects the two rectus muscles. And that the rectus muscles elongate over a pregnancy. They also go apart to the sides a little bit, and they do come back together to the midline. But the problem is once you've stretched the ligaments, it's like stretching a ligament in your knee. You're going to need surgery to have it reconstructed. The same occurs in the breast. The ligaments in the breast that support and maintain the elevation of the breast. And if you stretch those ligaments, the breasts often become droopy. There are also other things that occur too that, the breasts can stay large. They can also get a lot smaller afterwards. So generally, when we're talking about mommy makeover surgeries, predominantly the abdomen, reconstructing the abdomen, sorting out the breasts as well. But then there's also a fair bit of intimate surgery, also patients, that have had normal vaginal deliveries. There can be trauma in that area that we'll also work on to reconfigure that.
So, Doc, I want to get an understanding just over the years as a surgeon, how has how have these surgeries and these mommy makeovers, as we call them now, how has the patient's needs changed over the years? Because we're seeing a lot of things we didn't see a good 10, 15 years ago. Things like, the popularity of liposuction, for example, or vaginal rejuvenation. I mean, that's such a new concept for many. So let's talk about how it has kind of modernized over time.
Okay. Mmaseko, yeah, there's been, with any surgical specialty, there are advances and there are new techniques that become mainstream. So, certainly when it comes to work on the muscle of the abdomen, we can often do it almost laparoscopically, where we're using small incisions and then we're repairing it laparoscopically via a keyhole type manner. Vaginal rejuvenation is something that has changed significantly in the last 10 years, and that's related to our ability and our understanding of fat transfers, stem cell transfers, how we can use stem cells to augment the G-spot, also how we can tighten the vagina using fat transfers, and also use the stem cells and fat to fix some of the perineal trauma that can occur in normal vaginal deliveries, specifically if they're complicated and the baby needs a vacuum extraction or a forceps delivery. When it comes to liposuction, liposuction has traditionally had a bit of a bad rap because of the fact that people feel that it's unsafe. It's exceptionally safe, provided it's done in an appropriate facility by an appropriately qualified surgeon. And the techniques that we have are designed to remove a lot of fat, but then also we can get a lot more skin tightening with some of our newer techniques. And I prefer to call liposuction liposculpture, because that's generally what we're doing is we're sculpting different areas of the body. We can remove fat, say, from the hips, and a lot of patients will transfer that into their buttocks. It's also all part of a mommy makeover. And a lot of it you can do it at a single stage, but some of it, if it's going to be a really long operation, anything more than sort of 3 hours or so, it's often better to split it into 2 separate surgeries.
Dr. Charles, when we look at the reconstructive surgeries and mommy makeovers per continent, which continents are leading the charge right now? And are you seeing a rise in patients from the African continent? As we are an African station, we'd love to hear if there's a take-up, or if you will, of African patients undergoing mommy makeovers.
Yeah, look, very much so. Sure, cosmetic surgery is basically mainstay, and the US always leads the figures with their numbers and all of that, From a personal perspective and also from a South African context, the Western Cape tend to do a lot of European-based international patients. Here in Gauteng, where I practice here in Rosebank, I see a lot of patients from Africa, and all the way up to Central Africa, specifically West Africa as well, because it's similar distance to go to Turkey as to say come down to South Africa. But generally, the quality of the surgeons that we have in South Africa and the quality of our healthcare facilities is much better than, say, for example, going to Turkey. So we do, I would say, at least 15 to 20% of my patients come from within Africa, predominantly sub-Saharan Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Zambia, fair bit from Mozambique, but then also Central and West Africa as well.
Interesting statistics. Very interesting statistics. Okay, Doug, I want to talk about, just based on what you're saying in terms of, what do they call it now? Medical tourism. And, women sort of wanting to fly to Turkey to get cosmetic surgeries done. I'm really concerned about recovery. Because if you're going to go to a different country, for example, to get major surgery of this nature, especially if you're doing multiple areas of the body and do it in a different country, and then you've got to fly back, and then what if there's complications? Then what do you do? Because, Dr. Saruri is now in a different country to you. What do you do then in those circumstances? Do you encourage medical tourism based on those?
Look, medical tourism is absolutely fine, provided it's done safely. Okay, and I've personally, and within the colleagues that I work closely with, we've seen quite a few disasters out of Turkey. Okay, there are definitive guidelines as to what you can do, when you can do it, how long patients need to be around, and that type of stuff. So first and foremost, anybody that's coming off a long haul flight, if they're going to have an abdominoplasty or tummy tuck, which is one of our higher risk operations for clots in the legs after the operation, you need to do a certain panel of blood tests on them to make sure that they are not brewing a clot, for want of a better description. So then there's also the time frame that patients need to be around for after the operation, the facility within which they need to be that's relatively close to the hospital, so that once they've been discharged from the hospital, they're in a facility where they can be cared for. And all of this is set up, certainly here in South Africa. Most surgeons that do patients from abroad are very particular in how long their patients need to be around for, how they need to be managed. And, hence there's the whole surgeon and safari vibe in South Africa, where patients can go on a safari, or they can go to a wellness spa type recovery facility, be around for 2 weeks or so. And then, once they're sorted, then they're sorted. It's very unlikely that they're going to get a long-term complication or problem. It's not this fly into Turkey, fly out the next day after a major procedure, get a clot in the leg and arrive in South Africa and be in serious problems,
Okay.
Informed.
Very, very, very interesting. Okay, so how do I determine if I'm the right candidate? I come to you and I've got all these worries that I need to have sorted out. How do you determine if I am indeed the perfect candidate to go under the knife?
Yeah. Well, look, most patients that are having a mommy makeover, they want to look like they looked before they had their pregnancies. So to a lesser or greater degree, they'll know what's wrong with them. And then one will work out a surgical plan for them. So when it comes to the breast, if you're too big and too droopy, then you're going to have a reduction and a lift. If you're just too droopy, then you can have a breast lift, and there are a couple of different ways we do that. And if you're too small because you've lost volume after your pregnancies, then maybe we need to put an implant in, do a breast augmentation, plus or minus a breast lift, and there you can do that internally or also externally. And then when it comes to the tummy, I find most people, when they talk to me about their breast, they've got quite a good idea. But what a lot of patients don't understand is what's happening with the biodynamics. It's a complicated term, but that means the musculoskeletal elements of the abdomen. And one of the most important things is one's got to work out what's happening with the muscle. One's got to repair the muscle. Then what's happening with the fat on the outside. Can you just liposuck that fat out and the skin tone and texture is good enough to contract? Or do we need to cut the fat out and also the extra skin? And how the whole tummy tuck or abdominal contouring surgery works. So I spend a lot of time explaining to my patients, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is why, and this is what we need to do, and then these are what the outcomes are going to look like, provided we don't have any complications. And complications, fortunately, from cosmetic surgery are very uncommon. Less than 1% of patients will have complications.
Oh. Well, we'll leave it there for today, Dr. Charles. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon and for shining a light on this mommy makeover. And we hope that those who are listening in are a bit more informed when it comes to this reconstructive procedure. That was specialist cosmetic and plastic reconstructive surgeon, Dr. Charles Saruri. It is 31 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the latest in sports with Figile Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
We kick off with football news this hour. Bafana coach Mmatsheko expressed his relief after narrowly beating Guinea 2-1 in the second African Nations Championship Group C tie at Mandela National Stadium in Kampala last night. The national elephants were all over the South Africans, who were made to sweat for their first 3 points haul at the tournament, and had it not been for the crossbar, could very well have taken at least a point away from the match. Mmatsheko, speaking to the media after the match, acknowledged the result came as a huge boost heading into the remaining 2 group matches against Niger and co-host Uganda.
Congratulations to South Africa to have won such an important game, because if you were to draw or to lose this game, we were to be under massive pressure. So the 4 points that we are carrying now gives us confidence and belief that we are still on the right track. And I just want to congratulate the players for the hard work they had to put into this game.
Noting how Bafana were not the better team on the day, Mmatsheko emphasized that his side did what mattered the most, while the Guineans walked away with nothing for their superior performance.
At the end of the day, Guinea played the game, we scored the goals. And what is important for us was to score the goals and win the game. We are very pleased with the results, but there's still a lot of work that we still need to do going into the next match. But as for Guinea, I think they came at us after we scored the first goal, which was a beautiful goal in terms of our preparation.
On to aquatics. More than 100 of South Africa's top water polo players gathered in Gqeberha over the past 3 days for the inaugural South Africa Water Polo Winter Series. The new franchise format tournament, featuring 4 men and 4 women's teams, was held at the Newtown Park Indoor Pool. Organizers say it is a milestone for the sport, aimed at boosting competitiveness and growing participation from grassroots to the Olympic game stage. Tournament director Siegfried Lokoch says this tournament is a format inspired by Cricket South Africa's SA20, designed to break the long-time dominance of the Western Cape and Gauteng provinces in the sport.
Tournament of its kind in the country. We've completely changed it up. We've got a draft system. We've drafted in the best players across the country, coaches, referees, very similar to what they do in the NFL. So we got the idea from that. We put them into teams, so it's strength on strength, and they compete for prize money. First tournament in South Africa that there's ever been any prize money available. So the total prize purse available is about 250,000 Rand.
And lastly, Faith Kipyegon says she believes a woman will break the 4-minute barrier for the mile in the generation or the next, and the challenge is what keeps her training. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Fide Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Stella Longwe. Pamalonje.
Palitusokoma pano pamalonje. Kumvera nyimbo za mu Africa, kusangalala, kupeza moyo, akuti kumva moyo kuti kuyenda bwino pano pamalonje. Ndiyetu apa tili ndikatswiri oyimba ameneyu ndikatswiri wa dziko la Malawi amene akukhala mdziko la South Africa, ndipo amayimba amene akuti ndi Big Nick Malawi. Yatusati kuti kodi moyo wanu woyimba ukuyenda bwanji mu Johannesburg?
Moyo woyimba ukuyenda bwinobwino kwambiri, chiliyonse chikutheka ndithu bwinobwino.
Ayi aziwoneka chiliyonse chikutheka mofa magrasi anu apa mwaka akuti kumenya yonse aziwoneka zoti azikutheka ndithu mu Johannesburg.
Malonje panthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo. Lowiruka ndi Stella Longwe.
35 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. Let's say good afternoon now to Nosipo Zuma for business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In your business news this hour, the African Civil Aviation Commission has called on African leaders to create new opportunities for the next generation in the aviation sector. The Commission made this call at the third Next Generation of Aviation Professionals Global Summit at the Durban ICC in South Africa. The 3-day event started today. It aims to address the urgent need for new skilled professionals in the sector globally. The Commission Secretary General Adefunke Adeyemi has urged Africa to dismantle the systematic barriers that limit the participation of women and young people in the aviation sector.
The world of global aviation needs our African youth. ICAO tells us that over the next 20 years, aviation globally is going to almost triple in its size. In Africa, aviation is going to almost triple in its size. Africa has the youngest population of this entire world, with an average age of 19. In the next 20 years, we're going to need over 70,000 aviation professionals in Africa, just from an operational perspective.
Meanwhile, Secretary General of the International Civil Aviation Organization, Juan Carlos Salazar, has emphasized the importance of collaborative efforts in order to reach the 2050 goal of delivering a vast and successful air connectivity globally.
This vast and evolving workforce requirement is precisely why the Next Generation of Aviation program, or the NGAP, is a high-level priority under the ICAO's long-term strategic plan for the year 2050. This plan aims to deliver air connectivity to everyone, everywhere, while eliminating fatalities and reducing emissions from aviation to net zero. The 2025 NGAP Global Summit will be remembered as a key milestone in the scaling up and refinement of this program as we achieve these ambitions.
South Africa's Trade, Industry and Competition Minister Park Stau says the government is expanding its export and import markets amid US-imposed 30% tariffs on imported South African goods. The markets include Asia, Japan and Vietnam. Tau and Johnston Hazen for Agriculture updated the media on the government's efforts to mitigate the effects of the tariffs, which took effect last week. Sectors such as automotive and agriculture that rely heavily on exports to the U.S. have been hard hit. Tau says they are working with the Department of Employment and Labor to alleviate job losses.
Following consultations with the Competition Commission, a block exemption for exporters has been introduced to enable collaboration and coordination amongst competitors. A draft block exemption will be published by the end of this week so that the process can be concluded expeditiously, and information would be available on the DTIC website. With regards to demand-side interventions to leverage on buying power by local consumers, Proudly South Africa will intensify outreach with corporates and retailers to support increased domestic sales of products.
South Africa's unemployment has increased from 32.9% in the first quarter to 33.2% in the second quarter of 2025. Stats SA's quarterly labour force survey shows that there was an increase of 19,000 in the number of employed persons to reach 16.8 million, while there was an increase of 140,000 in the number of unemployment persons to reach 8.4 million. And finally, Ford Motor Company is recalling 103,174 vehicles in the United States due to a safety issue with damaged axle hub splines. The recall was initiated because the affected vehicle may experience a rollaway when placed in park without the parking brake applied. The damaged axle hub splines could also cause a loss of drive power while the vehicle is in motion. Your financial indicators: 1 US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 532, and Botswana it's 13.40. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 54, and in Zambia it's 23 kwacha 22. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 44. Russia is 79 rubles 40. India is 87 rupees 62. China at 7 yuan 19, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 74. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,346 and platinum at $1,333 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $66.81 a barrel. Now, for any business news stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Mosito Zuma.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The Upside. Your afternoons just got even better.
Bantu Biko Street by Simpiwe Dana. Ndi ready. Simpiwe, 20 years in song. So what emotions come up when you hear that, hey, you've been doing this for 20 years now?
It almost feels like no time has passed, eh? I just, I know obviously time has passed, but I don't feel it. Even about my age, I'm 45. I always get shocked when I think, oh my God, in 5 years' time, I'll be 50. Because for me as an artist, it's almost like when it comes to certain things, time stands still. And as a result, you find that a lot of artists are very childlike, which, helps them to always have a fresh approach to issues.
I tell you what, I'm feeling healed just by that.
We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the Upside.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu maswala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Been on the road for a while, brother, you know why. 247, I'm moving, so I go day alright. Dreams untold every day, I don't need to tell no one. Or Bobby with Solomon, I don't want to hear trilogy no more. Skating is a lifestyle, skating is a part of me. Skating is a lifestyle, skating is a part of me. Them know it's a part of me, it's a part of energy. Too much steez, Mmatsheko. Before them wake, go to jalo. Still to speed, want to follow. Back a look, baby, beshin low. Still on still, I just stack up. Kunita fun, I want power. They me sound, ni bo. On a flipping level, most sexy. You know bad man too, jiggy jiggy. You live for 2 pack, my lottery see. Can't do life for my enemies. Any day you see the boy, it's a good vibe. Every money getting money, then we flipping. Shut down on the city. Good time with the titty. Skating is a lifestyle. Skating. Skating is a part of me. Skating is a lifestyle. Skating. Skating is a part of me. Skating is a lifestyle. Skating. Skating is a part of me. Skating is a lifestyle. Skating. Skating is a part of me. Chasing my dreams. If I can't balance, you got take it easy, my G. If I give you space, it is not my fault. I say nobody perfect. Sometimes I want in my zone, I want zone out, waiting at the reason I can't tell. I be make I play you the cassette. Oh no. Getting paid, baby Chico. Power big, baby Wacko. It's a speed, man, I feel good. Skating is a lifestyle. Skating. Skating is a part of me. Skating is a lifestyle. Skating. Skating is a part of me.
The Upside. On The Upside, your voice matters.
Mama, oh, I don't need that, mama, like I don't need that, mama, like I don't need that, mama, I don't need that, mama, like I don't need that, mama, thank God that Rudo Tipembere. Achinditambisa kunge mzerere inini mambo satuterere hanga singatombo nterere meno maida ndicheme achizviti nditori chielele ari akaita ndiperere chimwe ndakashiva mushenengene akatama nemoyo wangu akauziya une plasta akandisungirira zibhomba akandiplasta pangu kugeto akatobugwa nemarasta nenzimwe nyaya sina basa waisasa anondida ndakuvagara chizvibvunza ini ndaiti anondida mama ndaiti anondida mama ndaiti anondida mama
ana iri love yacho tikambozvimisa isu tinobveiko kana ndisiri munhu wacho saka wacho chaiye achabvepiko akiswaigara uchiribadama ikati ndokuda wotanga kukakama wachinjira mumba wobda wakashama kunzi dzese dzobuda rute tsauda nyama dzikama mai mwana haupenge bata hana zvinyoranyora haufende mari yaunoonda kana upenyu haitenge kunakidza zvanyika asi haipere ndaiti anondida mama anondida mama
Zona kutaundide bota aundipe chando taura auzinzwe wakandivisa chiremerera ana yangu ana inorova ndikafunga ukama shinonedza ukanganwa anchamanya kutrasta nyango akanaka say it doesn't matter sangomanya kuwira nyango chimuna
10 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African Time, a double play there. The first song that we played was Skating by Ashake, and this one that you're listening to, Anondida by Master H, EXQ, and Shinos Man. It's 10 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African Time. Let's take a quick breather. When we get back, I've got something on my mind.
Stella Longwe pamalonje
palitu sokoma pano pamalonje kumvera nyimbo za mu africa kusangalala kupeza moyo akuti kumva moyo kuti kuyenda bwino pano pamalonje ndiyetu apa tili ndi katswiri oyimba ameneyu ndi katswiri wa dziko la malawi amene akukhala mdziko la south africa ndipo amayimba amene akuti ndi big nick malawi yatiusani kuti kodi moyo wanu woyimba ukuyenda bwanji mu johannesburg?
Moyo woyimba ukuyenda bwinobwino kwambiri chilichonse chikutheka ndithu bwinobwino.
Ayi azioneka chilichonse chikutheka mofa magrasi anu apa mwaka akuti kumenya yonse azioneka zoti azikutheka ndithu mu johannesburg.
malonje pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo lowiruka ndi Stella Longwe.
Welcome back to Channel Africa. Welcome back to The Upside. Thank you very much for staying with us. We're 9 minutes away from 2 p.m. in Central African time. And just to fill you in on some business news, if I could call them that, because the South African Broadcasting Corporation, or the SABC as we call it, is pleased to announce the launch of the new self-registration platform. Vendors wishing to do business with the SABC can self-register on our internally developed platform. Just go on etender.co.za and follow the prompts from there. Visit SABC's social media pages for more information.
Mmatsheko Mosito and Tebogo Lekhuleni on the Upside.
It is 8 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. What's on my mind and what I wanted to talk about was, and it's not new news, I think people have heard this one before, but I'm going to throw it to you. Did you know that Botswana is planning to build its own version of Dubai?
Listen, I'm so gobsmacked by that. No clue. Tell us more. Sounds fascinating.
It's going to be similar to Dubai. It's going to be called, I don't know if they're going to really call it Zotis City. Zotis City is based on the UK-based company who will be funding this project. They are called Zotis Group. Or whether it's going to be called Kalahari City. It's going to be built on the Kalahari Desert.
I think I like Kalahari City.
Kalahari City, right?
I like that, yeah.
The question is, are we ready? Are we ready for such developments?
We were born ready. Yes, please. I think just with, we need to take building our own schools, our own cities, our own farms back into our own hands. So we were absolutely born ready. Listen, I'm going to Kalahari City.
Listen,
I'm starting to save some coins today.
I think they're going to break ground in September next month. It's like September 2025 already. It was signed off in January, February, somewhere there. Announced at a big conference and so on and so forth by the president, Uduma Boko. But it's going to create so many jobs as well. Between 20,000 to 300,000 direct employment opportunities, specifically targeting Botswana's youth, women, and marginalized communities through comprehensive skills development and entrepreneurial programs. And there's an estimate of $5.5 billion annually to be to contribute to the GDP of Botswana within the first 5 years. The first phase is set to be completed by 2030, and I'm excited about it. I think it's brilliant because it's going to bring tourism. Massive contribution from the tourism leg.
100%.
Because people are going to want to see this amazing Dubai city in Africa. And it's right next door to us in South Africa. And I think that innovations like these are what we need on the African continent. I remember at some point, Akon, remember Akon, the singer, the Senegalese born, he wanted to create a smart city, like super smart city. That just fell through the cracks. It never materialized, unfortunately. I don't know why, whether it was a funding or political thing that stopped it, but Botswana is not stopping. They're going to create a whole Kalahari city mirroring Dubai city that's happening there in the UAE. It's exciting.
And I'm excited that we're doing it on our own way. But I think what's really important to note is just the economic development that this is going to bring, and how it's going to create equilibrium and access, from people from all walks of life, especially those from, previously disadvantaged spaces and places, like women who didn't have access to funding and business opportunities and idea generation at this level. That is the advantage for me of creating such cities. So listen, #born ready for Kalahari City. We're going to be there when it launches.
We must
We're
be
going
there.
to be the first ones there.
We must be there. We must be there. Because remember, a lot of people, when they think about Dubai, they think, oh yeah, Dubai, because they're currently sitting on oil reserves, oil. Do you know that less than about 1% of oil contributes to the GDP of Dubai currently? They were smart when they discovered oil many years ago, and they stretched out those investments and made sure that it was a city that everyone wanted to be a part of and everyone wanted to see, that directly contributed to the economy through tourism. And then it became a trading center where you could ship things from different parts of the world, and you had to use the ports through Dubai to get it around.
Right.
But right now it's less than 1% of the oil, so we mustn't worry about, but we don't have oil reserves in the Kalahari Desert. No, the tourism and the other businesses and the other sectors will ensure that this Kalahari city thrives. And I think, like you said, we were born ready for this. Do you think it bears any negativity because the company that is going to be funding, or rather spearheading this, is a UK-based one? It's not an African-based company.
Yeah,
It's
look,
the
I mean,
Zotas Group.
That's always very interesting, and we don't know what the terms and conditions are. It would be very sad if we get a financial injection of that nature in African smart cities, only for them to be so controlled that they don't reach their full potential.
That's the problem.
That would be a travesty. But listen, we're always optimistic, okay? Because there's a neurosurgeon that taught me the other day that you've got to try and just be optimistic so that you can manifest these things. So I don't know, maybe that will contribute to it being a major success. But listen, what do you think? Do you think that Africa is ready for a smart city? I think we've been ready. I think we've been ready since the beginning of time. But you can let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. You can find us on X if you want to drop things in our suggestion box there. It's at Channel Africa 1, #The Upside, and we'll be able to track the conversation with you there. Otherwise, just comment on one of our posts on Facebook. Use the hashtag The Upside, and let's hear what you've got to say.
As my dreadlocks are longer, I know say right now my time, I no go waste them rara. I go use them dada. Innocentness in a bastard. I receive I'm jeje. So if I do you wrong, I apologize. For the people who they sympathize, I gotta go make them larger. Full of snakes and spiders. Make a wrong move, lose your life, make it hard for your mother to sleep at night. Street no love you right. Some people they for mortuary. Some people they for hospital. Count your blessing one by one. Sure bet yeah, time has come to lift our voices. Lift my voice in prayer.
Going higher and higher with Burna Boy. It is 2 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get the latest news with Jwalani Tulongwepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Top stories: Asawa, the Nigerian Air Force kills bandits in Zamfara state, and thousands of civilians flee their homes in northwest Pakistan. Good afternoon. The Nigerian Air Force has killed scores of gunmen known locally as bandits who were members of criminal gangs operating in Zamfara state. In a statement, the Air Force says that it carried out a raid in the Makakari forest in northwest Nigeria, which was the hideout of the gunmen who were believed to be behind some high-profile kidnappings in the area. It said it conducted the operation after surveillance detected more than 400 gang members preparing to attack a village. Over the past 2 weeks, armed gangs have targeted nearby settlements, killing scores and kidnapping many more. At least 13 security personnel have also been killed. The General Industries Workers Union of South Africa, GIWUSA, has condemned recent incidents where some foreign nationals are prohibited from accessing healthcare in the country. Operation Dudula has been spearheading these operations in most parts of the country. The Department of Health has also spoken against the actions. GIWUSA President Mametlwe Sibe says stopping foreign nationals from accessing healthcare is xenophobic and takes away from the crisis in the country's healthcare system.
These attacks are not only a violation of the most fundamental human rights, but a dangerous diversion from the real crisis in the healthcare system. A crisis created by neoliberal austerity, corporate looting and profiteering, corruption and mismanagement. It is true that the clinics, hospitals and other healthcare services in our working class communities are failing the poor.
Still in South Africa, the FW de Klerk Foundation has reiterated its call for the government to give citizens an opportunity to elect their own representatives to drive the national dialogue. Legacy foundations, including the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, have withdrawn from preparatory task team, arguing that what was meant to be a citizen-led initiative had shifted towards government control. The first national convention, taking place on Friday, marks the beginning of South Africa's national dialogue. The executive director of the FW de Klerk Foundation, Christo van der Riede, says the gathering's preparatory process has been flawed.
The money that was supposed to be made available should have been used for a comprehensive communication strategy to inform people what the national dialogue seeks to achieve, and also to give communities the opportunity to come together to elect representatives at the national convention.
The UN representative in Sudan, Salvatore Nkurunziza, says violent conflict between forces of the Sudanese military and their rival Rapid Support Forces militia rages for its third year, with women facing the brunt of the humanitarian crisis. Nkurunziza explains the struggles women face in Sudan and the solutions that should be implemented.
According to the recent gender snapshot, nearly 26% of all female-headed households are now experiencing severe food insecurity compared to just 14 1 year ago. To make the response more gender responsive, we need to move beyond rhetoric into action and move now to ensure access to various locations, include conflict-affected areas, and ensure the reinforcement of protection of women and girls and the humanitarian workers.
And finally, thousands of civilians have fled their homes in a tribal district in northwest Pakistan as security forces resume an operation against militants. Reports say troops use helicopter, gunships and mortars to target suspected militant hideouts in Bajur district. The BBC's Anbarasani Tarajan has the details.
Amid increasing attacks on its troops, the Pakistani military has launched an operation against the insurgents in Bajor district that borders Afghanistan. The security drive that began late last month was paused within a day after tribal elders tried to broker peace. But talks with the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan group ended in deadlock, with the insurgents refusing to retreat from civilian areas to go to Afghanistan.
Recapping the top story this hour, the Nigerian Air Force has killed scores of gunmen known locally as bandits who were members of criminal gangs operating in Zamfara state. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Webe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
It is 6 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome to the second hour of The Upside, the golden hour on Channel Africa, the African Perspective with Tebogo, Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. We're still coming to you live from the Auckland Park studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. Catch us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok and on X. Let us know how your day is going, where you're streaming us from this afternoon. Our WhatsApp line is +2763 406 9126. Important conversation that we'll be having in this hour. In the first half of the hour, we'll be going to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the DRC, because with the looming 2028 elections, we're going to be asking the question, how can we have inclusive dialogue ahead of the 2028 election? Important to have inclusive dialogues ahead of elections. Is that something that, again, yesterday we were having our own conversation. Is democracy an African thing? Is this a concept that we've adopted from somewhere else? We're not quite used to it. But including inclusive dialogues before elections, does this cause us to have a more smoother elections with less on-the-ground disputes and fights? Is that the hope?
Listen, we need an expert for this one, because I think when you look at the complexities around Africa's way of electioning, there's a lot to dissect, and that's why we've invited keynote speaker who is going to be coming through on the show. It's going to be wonderful to catch up with him once again. Herbert Kababasu Babu Katulondi is going to be joining us in his capacity as a political analyst as well, operating independently. And he's going to talk to us about, I guess, how to analyze African politics in contemporary African spaces, what that looks like. Yeah. We were talking on the back yesterday when we were talking about democratic frameworks. We're talking on the back of the upcoming election in Côte d'Ivoire. And the protests that were happening in the city of Abidjan. And now we've got other elections that are looming on the continent. So a very, very important discussion to have. So we've invited an expert to join us, but you're also welcome to contribute. You're absolutely welcome to contribute in your capacity as a citizen, as somebody that's just really interested in the future, not only for yourself, but for the next generation as well. If you've got children, what kind of Africa do you want them to live in? How do you want, places and spaces to operate, from policymakers right down to the practitioners on the ground? Let us know on our social media spaces. We're 10 minutes into the golden hour of The Upside.
In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Thulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Tulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Mmatsheko Mosito and Tebogo Lekhuleni on the upside.
It's still B on the beat.
Five-star music. E-money. Casey, your good boyfriend. Come on. Hey. Girl, I just want to see your face. Your face. I wanna see your face. Your face. Yeah. I wanna see your fine face. Your face. 'Cause let's go. Girl, I just want to see your face. Your face. I wanna see your face. Your face. Yeah. I wanna see your fine face. Your face. 'Cause sugar, oh sugar, your love sweet me past sugar. I just wanna let you know, say you are so beautiful, oh baby, my honey, my sweet sweet honey. Hey, like I see water for my body, good for my body. Like I see water for my body, good for my body. Oh, can I just want to see your face? Your face. I wanna see your face. Your face. I wanna see your fine face. Your face. 'Cause girl, I just want to see your face. Your face. I wanna see your face. Your face. I wanna see your fine face. Your face. 'Cause inside my heart, inside my body, you don't take your place. Special place. 'Cause I feel I see the enter. Now my heart see the enter. Baby, gotta go. I say gotta go. Okay, my name is Casey. All my friends them love you. My family them like you. 'Cause now you I love. Now you I love. Oh, girl, I just want to see your face. Your face. Hey, I wanna see your face. Your face. I wanna see your fine face. Your face. 'Cause girl, I just want to see your face. Your face. I wanna see your face. Your face. I wanna see your fine face. Your face. 'Cause okay, my name is Casey. All my friends them love you. My family them like you. 'Cause now you I love. Now you I love. Oh. Makes it super fast. Chidi Ajari.
What a banger of a song. What a banger of a song. I tell you what, you have a fine face, huh? You have a fine face, Mmatsheko. That's KC there.
Where are you
The
from?
name.
Where are you from with that accent now?
I have no idea. It sounded cool in my head until you executed it and you realize I probably should not have even started in the first place. But welcome. It's the second hour of The Upside on Channel Africa, and we're going to have a very important conversation about the looming election. I say looming. It's in 2028. It's not like next week. But in 2028, there will be an election in the Democratic Republic of Congo. All right. Now, the Democratic Republic of Congo is at a critical crossroads with the 2028 elections approaching. There's a growing call for inclusive dialogue, a smooth political transition, and lasting peace, not just for the DRC, but for stability across the SADC region. This week in Pretoria, an advocacy press conference will address the peace process from Washington to Doha, urging regional leaders to engage directly with the Congolese president on the path forward. Leading the conversation is Herbert Kabasu Babu Katolondi, founder of AGIR New Congo, respected political analyst, former governor, and author of the forthcoming book U.S. Marines in the Congo-Beni War. He joins us now to discuss what it will take to secure a peaceful future for the DRC. Honorable Herbert, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to The Upside.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on the program, and warmest greetings to your viewers and listeners.
Let's talk about this inclusive dialogue. It sounds good, but in practical terms, in the context of the DRC, what does a inclusive dialogue actually look like?
It implies and involves all the stakeholders, internal stakeholders, meaning the leaders of the ruling regime, the leaders of the opposition, of civil society, and also the leaders of the current armed opposition, AFC 23, because they have to address key and crucial issues of the crisis of legitimacy, compliance or conformance with the norms of the Constitution, but good governance, and also improving state security. So they have to sit around the table and discuss all these issues to come up with modalities or terms of correcting, addressing the situation so that we can have durable peace in the DRC and the region.
Okay. Mr. H, I want to get an understanding of the current status of the DRC's peace process as you and I speak, and why it's so critical, especially at this moment, because we're obviously looking ahead at the election. But talk to us about what the status looks like at the moment.
At the moment, it's a very dangerous situation, which can really drift into a state collapse and fragmentation or balkanization of the country, because the ruling regime in Kinshasa is dragging its feet after Doha, and we all know that after Doha, they were supposed to meet last week. They never went there. There was supposed to be also a meeting in Washington, follow-up meeting in Washington. President Kagame and President Tshisekedi, it didn't occur, although we know that the U.S. Department of State indicated that the Joint Commission of Follow-up met, I think, twice. So that is the situation. Now, with regard to the crisis of legitimacy, there's a significant portion or segment of the opposition that considers that Mr. Tshisekedi's power regime is illegitimate and we have to go to elections. But prior to going to these elections, some significant reforms of the electoral process must occur, and also must ascertain that these elections occur in a context where all the institutions are neutral. That's why all the stakeholders, opposition, civil society, even the Catholic Church, the Protestant Church, they call for an inclusive dialogue so that Congo can have a chance of coming back on the path of constitutional democracy, which can be conducive to sustainable peace in the country.
A call for inclusive dialogue in the DRC ahead of the 2028 elections. It's 19 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. We'll continue our conversation with Mr. Herbert Kabasu Babu Katolondi.
Es-tu préoccupé par quelque chose? Es-tu passionné par les questions qui comptent? As-tu une voix qui mérite d'être entendue? Eh bien, nous avons la plateforme parfaite pour toi. Téléphone-nous ou fais-nous un WhatsApp au +27 66 408 87 42 et nous te rappellerons. Sois dans la conversation.
Salut Channel Africa, ici Beno le diamant rouge aka Bina l'export depuis le Cameroun, le pays des lions. Voilà.
Sois dans la conversation. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de parler, mais c'est ta chance d'exprimer ton point de vue, de partager tes opinions et de t'engager avec une communauté qui valorise ton avis. Suivez-nous sur les réseaux sociaux, visitez notre site www.channelafrica.co.za et préparez-vous à partager vos points de vue sur Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Mmatsheko Mosito and Tebogo Lekhuleni on the upside.
An inclusive dialogue is the talk at the moment in the DRC ahead of the 2028 elections, and leading that conversation is Herbert Kabasu Babu Katolondi, founder of the AGIR New Congo, respected political analyst and former governor, and also the author of the forthcoming book U.S. Marines in the Congo-Beni War. Mr. Herbert, let's talk about the ordinary Congolese voices. In this inclusive dialogue, will theirs be heard?
Yes, theirs will be heard. The voices of the vast majority of normal Congolese from like provinces and villages, their voices are carried by NGOs, community leaders. And community leaders will be part of this conversation of the inclusive dialogue. But you have also like church leaders of the Senko Catholic Church, which is the largest Christian entity in the DRC, followed by the Protestant Church, the community of Protestant churches, which include the Mennonites, the Presbyterians, and the Baptists, and so on and so forth. So these entities of civil society will carry the voices of normal Congolese. And this is not the first time that Congolese have an inclusive dialogue. We had the anti-Congolese dialogue at Sun City and Pretoria. And in fact, that was an event which put all the Congolese together to really devise the new terms or the modalities of the new social contract, which really helped the Congolese to rebuild the country and relatively achieve the democratic state and the economic social development reconciliation of the Congo, the largest one, the longest one of the post-colonial Congo. So the ordinary citizens, the ordinary Congolese who are suffering in remote villages, in forests and so on and so forth, their voices, their aspirations, their needs will be conveyed into this forum by NGOs and community leaders and church leaders.
All right, we are speaking to Mr. Herbert, who's joining us. Herbert Kabubasubabu Katolondi is joining us on the line, and he's an author, he's a former governor and respected analyst of African politics. So we're obviously speaking to him ahead of a very important advocacy press conference that will be taking place to address the Democratic Republic of Congo's peace process. Mr. H, let's talk about this gathering that's going to be taking place in Pretoria, the press conference, and perhaps how you are, how you are going to be addressing ways to achieve some kind of success when it comes to inclusive dialogue. We know that we haven't seen much success when it comes to the SADC leaders and them trying to facilitate a smooth political transition in the Congo. So what are you hoping this press conference will achieve in that light?
We hope that it's going to really speak to their minds, speak to their hearts, because SADC leaders are leaders of countries that are immediately or closest to the Congo. Instability in the Congo always has an impact on stability, economy, security. In SADC, in countries like Zambia, South Africa, you know how many refugees are in South Africa today. And so we want to speak to them. I think they still have a chance of fixing or correcting what they didn't achieve, what they should have done like 2 or 3 years ago. Because 2 or 3 years ago, when all these contradictions and contractions started to unfold, they should have intervened in terms of engaging the Congolese counterpart to say, you have to stay on the course of a constitutional democracy. You have to respect institutions, and you have to run credible elections. When elections occurred in 2018, and there was a major controversy there. President Cyril Ramaphosa, President Kagame, and many other presidents, 11 African presidents met in Addis Ababa where there was doubt. But President Cyril Ramaphosa was one of the presidents who convinced his peers to accept the outcome of that election in 2028. But for 2023, there was also a controversy there. And this is one of the major issues that relates to the so-called crisis of legitimacy. So SADC leaders should have stood strong and firm to say these elections are problematic. Can we rerun, or what solution can we find? So I think they were sort of passive and complacent, and the whole situation now has blown out of proportion. We have got this war. So now they have to stand up and engage. We have not seen all, for example, 6 or 5 SADC leaders engaging their Congolese counterpart in Kinshasa, going there to speak to him to say the inclusive dialogue is necessary. This dialogue here will be shorter. It's not like Sun City, because Sun City, we didn't have a constitution. People had to debate on the constitution. We didn't have an institution. People had to debate on the institution. We didn't have, we had never had elections. So we had to devise ways of building electoral administration and so on and so forth. So SADC leaders have got the responsibility to engage their counterpart.
Mr. Herbert, the conference will be taking place on the 14th of August 2025 at the Pretoria Hotel. Take us through the delegates that will be there.
We targeted SADC leaders. We targeted also the diplomat of Qatar, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates. Why? Because Qatar and United Arab Emirates, the people of Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and Qatar, people of Doha. Doha is facilitating. America is also facilitating. But Qatar and United Arab Emirates, they've got major geoeconomic stakes in the Congo, because companies of United Arab Emirates acquired shares in the BC mine, which is one of the largest tin mines in the world, in Walikale, and also in a company called Primera Metals of United Arab Emirates, based in Dubai, paid $1.9 billion to the Congolese government. And they have acquired, in fact, as we speak right now, that company, Primera Gold, possesses all the concessions of coltan, gold, and cassiterite of the Greater Kivu province. And Qatar has got stakes in Rwanda. Qatar has got stakes in DRC. So and United States. So these countries, we targeted them so that they can help also, because they've got economic stakes there. Their investment will never have a return on optimal return on investment if there is no peace. And for there to be peace, the crisis of legitimacy must be solved. So we've called them. We've called also the United States, Belgium, and France, which are the countries that have been interacting with the Congo for a long time. But we targeted mostly SADC leaders, and also some experts and some Congolese leaders, local leaders, because we believe that the experience of Sun City and Pretoria have got constructive elements that can help accelerate the process that we are dealing with at the moment.
Actually, you've answered my next question as to, just the choice of country, the choice of venue, to unpack this as we also look at the role of international communities within the peace processes of the DRC. Mr. H, thank you very much for joining us. I think before we let you go, just as a final note, what message would you like to leave for those who are following the peace processes, and I think most importantly, those that are living in the region currently?
We need to create a synergy. It is important. Look at Africa. Look at how America is pressurizing Africa with this tariff situation and so on and so forth. So as President Nelson Mandela and President Mbeki used to say, Congo need to develop. Congo is supposed to stand and rise as an economic powerhouse of Africa to contribute toward propelling African economy. So Africa, and particularly SADC, need a stable and peaceful Congo, which will allow fast economic development in Congo and in the region. So all authentic Pan-African must stand for peace in the DRC.
Okay, thank you so much, Herbert Kabasu Babu Katulondi. Thank you very much.
Katulondi.
Yes, we appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me on the program.
Thank you. You're most welcome. Thank you for the time. It's 2:30. Let's cross to the sports desk.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
We kick off with football news. The Confederation of African Football CAF has approved Zimbabwe's National Sports Stadium to host Category 2 international games. This was revealed on Monday by the African Football Mother Body, provided an update on the homologated and non-homologated stadia around the continent. Although the National Sports Stadium is not yet in Category 1 to host the Warriors International Games, the ground qualified under Category 2, where it can host under 23, under 20 and under 17 AFCON qualifiers. The Giant Stadium is currently having a facelift so that it can host Category 1 games. Some more football news. Bafana coach Molefi expressed his relief after narrowly beating Guinea 2-1 in their second African Nations Championship Group C tie at Mandela National Stadium in Kampala last night. Ntseki, speaking to the media after the match, acknowledged the result came as a huge boost heading into the remaining two group matches against Niger and co-host Uganda.
Congratulations to South Africa to have won such an important game. Because if you were to draw or to lose this game, we were to be under massive pressure. So the 4 points that we are carrying now gives us confidence and belief that we are still on the right track. And I just want to congratulate the players for the hard work they had to put into this game.
Noting how Bafana were not the better team on the day, Ntseki emphasized that his side did what mattered the most, while the Guineans walked away with nothing for their superior performance.
At the end of the day, Guinea played the game, we scored the goals. And what is important for us was to score the goals and win the game. We are very pleased with the results, but there's still a lot of work that we still need to do going into the next match. But as for Guinea, I think they came at us after we scored the first goal, which was a beautiful goal in terms of our preparation.
And in tennis news, after nearly 15 years of international exclusion, the International Tennis Federation, ITF, has officially lifted its suspension of the Liberia Tennis Federation, LTF, restoring the country's full rights and privileges as a recognized member of the global tennis body. In a formal communication addressed to LTF President Paul Jamal King, the ITF confirmed that its board of directors reached the decision in accordance with Article 4 of the ITF Constitution. The reinstatement takes immediate effect, marking a significant turning point for the sport in Liberia. The ITF also reaffirmed its commitment to supporting tennis development in Liberia under its global growth framework. Now, the ITF further encouraged LTF leadership to reach out with any questions regarding their membership and to explore available support through meetings with executive directors and other departments. Let's end with water polo now. More than 100 of South Africa's top water polo players gathered in Gqeberha over the past 3 days for the inaugural South Africa Water Polo Winter Series. The new franchise format tournament, featuring 4 men's and 4 women's teams, was held at the Newtown Park indoor pool. Organizers say it is a milestone for the sport, aimed at boosting competitiveness and growing participation from grassroots to the Olympic stage. Tournament director Siegfried Lokoch says this tournament is in a format inspired by Cricket South Africa's SA20, designed to break the long-time dominance of the Western Cape and Gauteng provinces in the sport.
Tournament of its kind in the country. We've completely changed it up. We've got a draft system. We've drafted in the best players across the country, coaches, referees, very similar to what they do in the NFL. So we got the idea from that. We put them into teams, so it's strength on strength, and they compete for prize money. First tournament in South Africa that there's ever been any prize money available. So the total prize purse available is about 250,000 rand.
For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mokoenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
35 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time, Nosipo Zuma is standing by now with business news.
Business news on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In your business news, this hour, the African Civil Aviation Commission has called on African leaders to create new opportunities for the next generation in the aviation sector. The Commission made this call at the third Next Generation of Aviation Professionals Global Summit at the Durban ICC in South Africa. The three-day event started today. The Commission Secretary General Adefunke Adiemi.
The world of global aviation needs our African youth. ICAO tells us that over the next 20 years, aviation globally is going to almost triple in its size.
Meanwhile, Secretary General of the International Civil Aviation Organization, Juan Carlos Salazar, has emphasized the importance of collaborative efforts in order to reach the 2050 goal of delivering a vast and successful air connectivity globally.
This vast and evolving workforce requirement precisely why the Next Generation of Aviation program, the NGAP, is a high-level priority under the ICAO's long-term strategic plan for the year 2050.
South Africa's Trade, Industry and Competition Minister, Park Stau, says the government is expanding its export and import markets amid US-imposed 30% tariffs on important South African goods. The markets include Asia, Japan and Vietnam. Dawen John Steenhuisen for Agriculture updated the media on government's efforts to mitigate the effects of the tariffs, which took effect last week. Daw comments.
Following consultations with the Competition Commission, a block exemption for exporters has been introduced to enable collaboration and coordination amongst competitors.
South Africa's unemployment has increased from 32.9% in the first quarter to 33.2% in the second quarter of 2025. Stats says quarterly labor force survey shows that there was an increase of 19,000 in the number of employed persons to reach 16.8 million, while there was an increase of 140,000 in the number of unemployed persons to reach 8.4 million. And finally, oil prices have ticked higher after U.S. President Donald Trump extended a pause on implementing tariffs on Chinese goods for a further 90 days. Trump signed an executive order on Monday to continue the truce until the 10th of November, with Beijing also announcing an extension of its tariff pause for another 90 days. The truce was set to expire today, but this latest extension means that the U.S. will maintain its 30% tariffs on Chinese imports, and Beijing will hold its 10% levy on U.S. goods. Your financial indicators: $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 532, and Botswana it's 13 pula 40. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 54, and in Zambia it's 23 kwacha 22. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 ril 44. Russia is 79 rubles 40. India is 87 rupees 62. China at 7 yuan 19, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 74. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,346 and platinum at $1,333 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $66.81 a barrel. Now, for any business news stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Mosito Zuma.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Stella Longwe. Pamalonje.
Palitu soko mapano pamalonje. Kumvera nyimbo za mu Africa, kusangalala, kupeza moyo. Akuti kumva moyo kuti kuyenda bwino. Pano pamalonje. Ndiyetu apa tili ndikatswiri oyimba ameneyu ndikatswiri wa dziko la Malawi amene akukhala mdziko la South Africa ndipo amayimba amene akuti ndi Big Nick Malawi. Yatusati kuti kodi moyo wanu woyimba ukuyenda bwanji mu Johannesburg?
Moyo woyimba ukuyenda bwinobwino kwambiri. Chiliyonse chikutheka ndithu bwinobwino.
Ayi aziwoneka chiliyonse chikutheka mofa magrasi anu apa mwaka. Akuti kumenya yonse aziwoneka zoti azikutheka ndithu mu Johannesburg.
Malonje panthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo. Lowiruka ndi Stella Longwe.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito. Only on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Oh no no, it's the kiss, baby. Once again, penzi zitokula 150 vile napata utaniamini. Kuna muda kama siamini na kuna muda nikana penda jini. Mana penzi lako ndege mtini, niko macho ya josha tulia mimi. For your love let me sing sing, nishakolea hatari mapenzi. Tabu kipya kijiti, ukilamba unacheka. Na kibaridi hiki, niozeshe na tano ya mkeka. Penzi halishikiki, linavyotetemesha. Situfunge muziki, nikuonyeshe jinsi navyocheza. Mina mapost na mi, mapost na mi. 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 Mina mapost na mi.
Wala raha tu zimenizidi, sio mambo mitana, penzi mwenye na faidi, unalishwa na lala na kumbatwa kwa baridi, usinione na ngara na tuzwa na bibi. Oh, oh. Matikiti kudondoka, matikiti kudondokea, marafiki waninyoka, hivyo chunga wanayongea. Kande kande nikichoka, so narudi mnanifokea. Unaweza ulipotoka, mambo fyongo jani. Tamu kipya kijiti, ukilamba unacheka. Na kibaridi hiki, ndio sesheni ya tandoa ya mkeka. Penzi halishikiki, linavyotetemesha jamani. Situfunge muziki, nikuonyeshe jinsi navyocheza. Mina mapost na mi, mapost na mi. Mina mapost na mi, mapost na mi. Mina mapost na mi, mapost na mi. Mina boss na me, me na my boss na me, my boss na me, me na my boss na me, my boss na me, me na my boss na me.
Goja, unusiku au mchana, hold up, ini leo au ni jana, my boss na me, nankumbusha mjana, roho unavyoirusha nitakuja kufa msichana, nimepagawa uwanjani na sijui ngapi ngapi, refa ni nani, mbona mpira au jikati, nichagua kijani, yellow au pop, au nije muda gani ili nende na wakati, unawakanya mabisho, mtandani unanipa show, mpaka nasahau show, unachanganya kwenye roho, sija kundanganya no, weka pants naked door,
my boss na me, when I'm a boss na me, my boss na me, when I'm a boss na me, my boss na me, when I'm a boss na me, my boss na me, when I'm a boss na me, my boss na me, me na my boss na me, my boss na me, me na my boss na me, my boss na me, me na my boss na me, my boss na me, me na my boss na me, my boss na me, me na my boss na me, my boss na me, me na my boss na me, my boss na me, me na my boss na me, my boss na me, me na my boss na me.
My Pause by Diamond Platinums featuring DJ Melody. It is 46 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. It's time for What Caught Your Eye? The part of the show where we share some interesting things that we came across, that caught our attention, that caught our eye. And we would love you to also share some of the things that caught your eye this afternoon. Our WhatsApp line is +27 63406 9126, or alternatively, comment below on our TikTok account at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. Just below this video, you can comment there. What caught your eye? Or just contribute to our conversations. Madam Mmatsheko, what caught your eye?
Listen, there's an ongoing story. It just keeps catching my eye around women in the space of music and this younger generation of Afro soul, Afro pop stars on the African continent. One of them is Thames. It was last week when I'd noted that she's starting a platform that is going to give female African musicians a place to shine, a place to learn, because she wants to give back in that manner. But it's also very interesting to note in a recent interview that she had with the BBC, and she was talking about women not being respected in the industry. And you can kind of, get a sense of where she's coming from, because when you look at the industry currently, there's a big three, as they call them. The Burna Boy, the Davidos, the WizKids of this world. They are the males. They are, the counterparts that are seen as the one that are leading the space. Yeah. Hardly do you ever see the names Tiwa Savage. Hardly do you ever see the names Yemi Alade. Hardly do you see the name Thames in places and spaces where it really matters. So she vocalized that, and she spoke about just some of the negative comments that come through about her physique, her body, and how those have sort of kind of taint what she's doing as a musician and the work that she's doing. And she wrote on social media that it's just a body. I will add and lose weight. I never once hid my body. I just didn't feel the need to prove or disprove to anyone. The more you don't like my body, the better for me, actually. So just the scrutiny that, feminine musicians go through is quite unacceptable. I think in this day and age, really, are we still having conversations about women's bodies? Have you not done your research? Don't you know anything about hormones? Don't you know? Do you not have a mom? Has she not taught you anything? So it's just so sad to note that women have to go on platforms like the BBC, international platforms, and defend their bodies, defend their talent, defend their contributions. I mean, it's just too much. And I would imagine that as she's come through with this new platform that she calls the Leading Vibe Initiative. I love that name. The Leading Vibe Initiative. Chesa. I love that so much. I think that might just be a wonderful opportunity for her to really teach the upcoming musicians on how to stand their ground and how to hold their own. It's unfortunate that women have to do that. Stand their ground, hold their own. But here we are.
Very, very unfortunate indeed, because you don't see DJ Khaled having to defend himself.
No.
Rick Ross. No, they rip their shirts off. And you will see all of that.
You'll see what they had for dinner last night.
100%. And last week as well. And they don't have to defend themselves. And the fact that women still have to, doesn't matter how accomplished you are, doesn't matter how brilliant you are, an artist you are, you still are subjected to such vile comments from human beings. And but I'm very happy that she stood her ground, and she said that she's never had to prove to anybody about anything to do with her body. She loves her body as is, but she doesn't have to prove it to you. So if you continue, bad mouthing her, in actual fact, she's just going to appreciate herself even more, and that's a brilliant place to start.
Totally. We've been having lots of conversations and using South Africa as an example around gender-based violence. And for me, just the mockery of the feminine physique is really just part of the problem. It's part of violence against women because you are violating me. So I cannot do my job now because of the way I look. Really? Stop it.
It's 9 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African Time. What do you think? +27634069126. On the other side, I'll share what caught my eye.
Parlez-vous couramment le français? Êtes-vous passionné par la radio? Et êtes-vous qualifié pour travailler en Afrique du Sud? Envoyez-nous votre CV et vos 3 minutes démo en MP3 à @channelafrica.co.za pour avoir une chance de rejoindre la famille Channel Africa. Si vous n'avez pas de réponse après 14 jours, cela signifie que vous n'avez pas été retenu. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
They talk about what Africans say about Africa.
It's 8 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African Time. We continue with what caught your eye.
And you rub your eye as you say that.
As I rub my eye.
It's going to be a good one, clearly.
A very intentional one. So here's the question. When justice moves quickly, we celebrate, right? But what happens when it only moves quickly for some? There was a recent incident. The I-bomb air case has had many Nigerians asking, is this truly zero tolerance for violence or just another example of selective justice? Let me give you the story. All right. It was on the 10th of August, if I'm not mistaken. A woman by the name of Comfort Emerson, also referred to as Comfort Bob, refused to switch off her mobile phone ahead of takeoff on an I-bomb air flight from Uyo to Lagos. Despite an announcement from the pilot and intervention of another passenger, the situation escalated upon landing. I'll give you more details. First of all, the name. They must consider changing it. I-bomb air. I'm not getting onto a plane called I-bomb air. After all passengers disembarked, Emerson allegedly attacked the attendants that were trying to, deal with the situation earlier about switching off your phone, stepping on her, ripping off her wig, flinging her glasses to the floor, and assaulting her with a shoe. Another crew member tried to intervene. She was also slapped in the process. The assault continued. She tried to use a fire extinguisher as a weapon, and this was now something that could pose serious safety risks to those people that, had she attacked them like that, attacked security personnel, including I-bomb air and FAAN staff, and even slapping the ground supervisor before being restrained and removed. The Airline Operators of Nigeria, AON, have now issued an indefinite no-fly list banning Emerson for life from all AON member airlines, both domestic and international. She has subsequently also been charged in court and remanded at the Kirikiri Correctional Center in Lagos. On the 10th of August.
What a story.
On the 10th of August, this incident happened. Today is the 12th of August. She's been banned on all ION related flights. That was very quick. The public outcry is that, yes, she deserved to be punished because, my goodness me, it was quite the assault, and it was caught on video. Then some are also saying, but her human rights were overlooked and defiled in that moment, because some of the images and the videos that you'll see in the video that you'll see there show her in a very unflattering light, showcasing some of her intimate parts as well. And we're saying, where was her human dignity protected in this whole situation? It wasn't. All right. And the aviation minister has condemned the leak of the video as a violation of dignity and ordered the sanction of whoever released the indecent parts of the video, stressing the need to respect human rights even in the face of criminal behavior. Again, the selective justice that I was referring to earlier is that there have been other high-ranking officials, government, superstars, musicians, artists, and so on and so forth, who have been caught in similar situations, assaulting people on a flight. But that justice took a lot longer to see through. Some were given bail, some just a slap on the wrist, don't do it again. But this was such a harsh way of dealing with this ordinary citizen who supposedly doesn't have political connections, doesn't have the money. So when justice is then, shall we say, imposed on ordinary citizens, why does it look like it's so different compared to people who have money and who have political connections? Do you think that she was fairly treated, being banned for life by the AON network?
That is, I think harsh is the word.
Very harsh, isn't it?
Harsh, especially because, is she a repeat offender? What are you basing this on? Just the one incident?
Just that one incident.
No.
5 charges were laid against her, but it's quite a harsh one.
That is incredibly harsh on somebody that hasn't been recorded as a repeat offender. Granted, it was quite something that happened on that airline. But I think that you could have succeeded with a warning and just a fair punishment. This doesn't sound fair to me. And I'm not the law. Okay, we're not lawyers.
No, we're not. We're just
not in the court.
Stating our opinion, obviously.
100%. And also we know that if we go by everyone's opinion and everyone's the arbiter, we're not going to get anywhere. But is this really, you give us your thoughts, is this really the way to go? I don't think so. I think it's too harsh.
It really is too harsh. So if you're from Nigeria and actually anywhere around Africa, how do you think this case was handled? We are raising the questions of the fairness and consistency in how aviation incidents are handled,
right,
and the calls for equitable treatment and deeper scrutiny of the process itself. Why does it appear to be a lot quicker and harsh for the ordinary civilian and a bit more slap to the wrist to high-ranking officials and public figures? Why is there that disparity when it comes to justice being served? Let us know on our social media platform on TikTok at Channel Africa 1. We are a long way from getting... Is it that Wilbur Smith book, Animal Farm? Is it George Orwell or Wilbur Smith?
I don't know the book.
Animal Farm. Where it says all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. And this is case and point. It is now 2 minutes. Oh, not 2 minutes. It is 3 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get the latest news with Joelani Tulo Mwebe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Top stories: Asawa, the Nigerian Air Force kills bandits in Zamfara state, and European Union leaders issue a joint statement on Ukraine. Good afternoon. At least 13 security personnel and scores of gunmen locally known as bandits have been killed in Zamfara state in northwest Nigeria. In a statement, the Nigerian Air Force says that it carried out a raid in Makakari forest, which was the hideout of the gunmen who were believed to be behind some high-profile kidnappings in the area. It said it conducted the operation after surveillance detected more than 400 gang members preparing to attack a village. Over the past 2 weeks, armed gangs have targeted nearby settlements, killing scores and kidnapping many more. Congress of South African Trade Unions COSATU has expressed concern about allegations that South African National Defence Force soldiers have not been paid their allowances for peacekeeping mission duties in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Early this year, 14 SANDF members died in action in the DRC during the fight between M23 rebels and the country's military force. COSATU Parliamentary Coordinator Matthew Parks says the Federation will be seeking an urgent meeting with the ministry to ensure that the matter is swiftly resolved. Parks says it's untenable for SANDF personnel to have their allowances that are funded by international organizations such as the United Nations and African Union debited by their generals. The General Industries Workers Union of South Africa, GIWUSA, has condemned recent incidents where some foreign nationals are prohibited from accessing health care in the country. Operation Dudula has been spearheading these operations in most parts of the country. The Department of Health has also spoken against the actions. GIWUSA President Mametlo Sibei says stopping foreign nationals from accessing health care is xenophobic and takes away from the crisis in the country's health system.
These attacks are not only a violation of the most fundamental human rights, but a dangerous diversion from the real crisis in the healthcare system. A crisis created by neoliberal austerity, corporate looting and profiteering, corruption and mismanagement. It is true that the clinics, hospitals and other healthcare services in our working class communities are failing the poor.
The FW de Klerk Foundation in South Africa has reiterated its call for the government to give citizens an opportunity to elect their own representatives to drive the national dialogue. Legacy foundations, including the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, have withdrawn from the preparatory task team, arguing that what was meant to be a citizen-led initiative had shifted toward government control. The first national convention, taking place on Friday, marks the beginning of South Africa's national dialogue. The executive director of the FW de Klerk Foundation, Christo van der Rieder, says the gathering's preparatory process has been flawed.
The money that was supposed to be made available should have been used for a comprehensive communication strategy to inform people what the national dialogue seeks to achieve, and also to give communities the opportunity to come together to elect representatives at the national convention.
European Union leaders have issued a joint statement saying Ukrainians must have the freedom to decide their own future amid concerns Kyiv is being sidelined from Friday's summit between the US and Russian presidents. The statement, which was not endorsed by Hungary, also says meaningful peaceful negotiations may only take place in the context of a ceasefire. Michael Geller, who is the member of the European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, says Donald Trump had a clear goal to meet.
I hope he comes out of this talk on Friday, making it clear that both the Europeans, the Ukrainians and the US push Putin not only to a ceasefire, but also to agree to meaningful negotiations that are in the framework of international law.
Recapping the top story, the Nigerian Air Force has killed scores of gunmen known locally as bandits who were members of criminal gangs operating in Zamfara state. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Cholani Tulo Webe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
It is 6 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time, the final hour of The Upside on Channel Africa, The African Perspective, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito, with you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African Time. Thank you so much for choosing us this afternoon on Channel Africa. Catch us live on our social media platforms where you can see our lovely studio at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel One on TikTok and on X. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're having a productive day so far. Let's end it off with a bang. Let us know where you're tuned in from, where you're streaming us from this afternoon. Our WhatsApp line is +2763 406 9126. In this hour, we talk about how print media are adapting to this ever-evolving digital era that we find ourselves in. We're having our own conversation off air. When was the last time you bought a newspaper? The newspaper used to be our social media today. It used to have everything. Your news, your sports, your job vacancies, your games. You want to play crossword puzzles. Competitions. See, all the different commercial, the ads, not commercial, all the ads. If you wanted to buy something, it was there in the newspaper. Now it's on your phone. So how are they adapting to this ever-evolving digital landscape that we find ourselves in? We were also saying earlier that we've noticed some publications are starting to charge you now for their online content, for the journalistic work that their journalists are doing. They're charging now a monthly subscription. And in an age where you can access information anywhere, are people actually paying for that?
That's a good question. You know,
I would.
What
Personally,
exactly?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, what exactly am I paying for? I think that's going to be another big question, you know, when it comes to online subscriptions. But yes, indeed, we're opening up a conversation around the digital era when it comes to how that affects the print space. It's been an ongoing conversation, so nothing is going to be revolutionary, but it would be nice to find out, as you and I speak, where are we currently? You know, how publications and journalists and the fraternity at large, how is it shaping itself around the digital space? And I think also with the fierce, might I add, introduction of artificial intelligence, you know, how's that going to affect writing? Is that going to affect the quality? Are we now reading articles by robots? Or, you know, is that going to affect journalism? What is happening? You know, what is happening? There's so much happening at the same time. So let's talk about it. Let's have the conversation openly, because competition is tight. And we're talking about newspapers and how they used to set us back like R1.50, which is what, like 30 cents or something to that effect? Yeah, like 30 cents, 5 cents.
A couple of cents
in
today's money.
In dollars, you know. Just like 30 cents, 20 cents to get a full paper with everything you need to get you through the day and sometimes even the entire weekend. Now, it's 800 Rand for data, 600 Rand for the subscriptions. 500 Rand to sponsor all your social media pages. 20 rands to do this, 50 rands to, oh my goodness, to buy the power bank. Like now, this costs $1 million. to maintain.
I tell you what, it
to
is
give
that
you
bad.
access.
Just to give you that access. It is that bad that there was a publication. I'm not going to publicly, name them here, but there's a well-known publication that has an online platform where you subscribe to their content. At one point, they did a massive discount. I'm talking about where the normal price may be 100 Rand. They said for this whole month, it's only 10 Rand. For the next 3 months, it's only 10, or for the next 6 months. It was a long-term thing. Because they were clearly struggling to get people to subscribe to these platforms because information is readily available elsewhere for free.
For nothing.
For nothing. Anyway, we'll talk about how these print medias are adapting to this ever-evolving digital era that we find ourselves in. That conversation is coming up next. It's 10 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome to the final hour of The Upside.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu maswala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
The Upside with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito, bringing Africa's voices to the world. On Channel Africa, the African perspective.
What if God didn't? What if I had never been blessed beyond limits? What if I was always depressed and not living? What if Squatter Campus Kalen was unwritten and all I ever had to reflect was Bob Dylan? Josiah just decided to rest and not finish. Sia wasn't up to the test and not winning. Shabalala said in his head he can't hit it, but for it, it's all relative-ish. What if Tyler just decided to wait? What if Keenan couldn't stomach the hate? What if Booger Love had never been saved and still in love with the game? It's all I fade. What if Eminem had stuck with the 9 to 5? If Chester wasn't playing in 95? If Philemon, my singer, was called offside and Doctor was injured, would you have ever seen Barker fly? And Brenda Fussy wasn't obsessed with show business, and all the Winnie wanted was checks and more children. And Costa said, you niggas correct, we not women. Jabba didn't fuck on your vest, they can't siblings and son. I stand steady on business and everything that I've done. I can't imagine my diva not being a prodigal son. I left Gomani with vision and now I'm back as a young. What if? Mama, and where would I be now? Mama, and where would I be now? What if I was young and ginger and not chief? What if I was never prepared to love me? What if I was thinking of death and not peace? Cold heart living with fear and can't breathe? What if I didn't move with the north side. If I had a problem being cool with a horse ride, I couldn't do what we all like. If I never knew Ngulungu na madoswam. I know our time was it missed me. I'm focused on my daughters and my son and they miss me. If Zuma wasn't part of the big three, if Solomon Matango had quick feet, if Tito ain't decided to give me a gift, you gotta think about it, what if everybody tried to forgive? If I had not inspired a generation of writers to celebrate Amalanga Bafwit.
What if it works out in your favor? What if what you're worried about, concerned about, doesn't come to light? You're stressing about nothing. What if you stay tuned to the upside on Channel Africa? You'll be exposed to conversations like this. Conversations about print media and adapting to the ever-changing digital landscape we find ourselves in. By the way, the name of the song, What If, by Younger Chief. Beautiful song. What if the digital or print media doesn't adapt quickly enough to the changing demands and innovations in the digital space that we find ourselves in? Will we still have print media in 5-10 years' time? With the introductions of AI, advanced technology, is there still room and space for print media? Are they adapting? Are they adapting quickly enough? And where are we in terms of our understanding of that adaptation, and are we buying into it quickly enough as well? That's our conversation.
That is the heated debate. That is the heated debate. We're 16 minutes into the grand finale of The Upside. Thank you very much for tuning in. So we are looking at news consumption, and has it undergone a remarkable transformation? Well, it looks like it has in recent decades, or recent years, as it were. What was once delivered, folded on the doorstep, now appears instantly on the screen. Okay, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. The shift is there. When we see the shift from printed newspapers and magazines to e-papers, as they're now called, and now fully digital platforms, mark one of the most significant changes when we look at journalism and journalistic history. So this evolution has reshaped, rather, not just how news is delivered, but how it is produced, how it is funded, how it is experienced by you and I as the readers and consumers of this wonderful content. So we thought to rope in a woman who seems to be on the pulse, when it comes to this. Her name is Kabelo Mablomo. She is the founder and editor-in-chief of Sister Boso magazine. I was featured on the cover, was it for the April edition of Sister Boso?
Oh, come on
and
now.
It was just such an honor and a privilege, a feminine who is, kind of, putting the work of other feminines in the magazine. So it's a magazine about women, but I'm really interested to find out how Kabelo, in her capacity as editor, is looking at this new digital age. How is she incorporating that into the work that she does, into the magazine?
Yeah.
How is she creating value so that we can, see value and subscribe and purchase the e-paper or the e-magazine, as it were?
Okay. Is Sister Boso fully online, digital?
Full-on digital magazine.
Okay. That helps a great deal, doesn't
it?
Subscription-based?
I think it's subscription-based. You do need to, there are some publications, I think there's quite a lot of issues that you can access for free.
Okay.
But I think there are elements
exclusive ones.
Yeah.
Within there.
I think so, yes. So she'll be able to explain the model a bit better. But, in her giving us access to conversations with some really prominent women. She's featured women like Connie Ferguson on her cover, who's a South African television producer and one of the most prolific business women of our time. And she is, she's been on that cover as well. So in us giving us those exclusives, how is she doing it? how is she marketing it? How is she selling this wonderful publication to us? So I believe we've got her back on the line at this time. Kabelo, welcome to Channel Africa. How are you?
Thank you. Good. I'm good. Thank you. Mmatsheko, how are you?
I am good, Queen. So wonderful to have a conversation with you. I did note that your publication, Sister Boso, is giving a platform to women, on the African continent, particularly South Africa, women that are doing different things in entrepreneurship, in media, in arts, in culture, in academia as well. I've seen some stuff in the publication there as well. But let's talk about this digital era and how it has transitioned from print to digital, and then how you were able to mold Sister Boso around what is happening currently.
Oh, man, thank you so much for having me on the show, your viewers and listeners. Hello. So when we started Sister Boso, that was like the actual first question was whether print or digital. And at this point, print is something that is very nostalgic. People love to hold the magazine in their hands. We all grew up with this magazine, True Love magazine in your hand, and it feels good. But we had to consider quite a few things regarding right now what's happening with the internet and technology. And we chose to go with digital for us. But other magazines, when they have the funds, they can go print and do digital at the same time, because honestly speaking, as much as people love to hold the magazine in their hands, it is kind of declining. But personally, I don't believe that market is going to go away like indefinitely.
Access is also a big one, because would I rather drive to go buy a magazine or access it instantly on my phone? But we'll continue the conversation with the editor-in-chief of Sister Boso magazine, Kabelo Mablomo. It's 21 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. Don't go anywhere. If you have any questions for her, how they are adapting to this ever-changing digital landscape we find ourselves in as print media, let us know on our WhatsApp line, +27 63 406 9126.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
C'est notre invitée du jour, la belle Aïna Mwenze. Elle est là, certaines l'appellent Boss Lady.
Bonjour Monsieur Jolino.
Parlez-nous un tout petit peu de vous.
Je m'appelle Boss Lady Aïna. Je mets l'accent sur le nom de Boss Lady parce que je mérite cela après le travail fait. Et c'est une rémunération en titre de la personne que je suis devenue aujourd'hui. Épouse et une mère de 4 garçons. Et voilà ce que je peux dire pour l'instant.
Et vous vous êtes lancé dans le business. Comment c'est venu?
En tant que mère et se retrouvant dans les pays étrangers, particulièrement en Afrique du Sud, je me disais que laisser les enfants sur la charge des travailleurs ou d'une bonne, ça serait pas très intéressant. Je me suis dit, je dois essayer de m'organiser et trouver un emploi que je peux faire.
Mix Vibration, tous les dimanches de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
This is The Upside, for the best African vibes, groundbreaking content.
23 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time, we continue our conversation with the founder and editor-in-chief of Sister Boso magazine, Kabelo Mablomo. Kabelo, does Sister Boso, the magazine, is it a subscription-based platform, or do we access the content, all these exclusive interviews? Is that for free?
Yes, no. So
Okay.
you can subscribe, you can access some magazines for free. Our magazines from 2022 are free, but from 2023 coming down until now are not free. It's 50 rand per copy, but people who are subscribed, they buy it for 25 rand. So it's all digital. Exclusives are inside the magazine, so when you buy yourself a copy, you get all the exclusives, all the interviews, but also you get a chance to win a feature in the magazine and a couple of things that are often sponsored from the people that advertise in the magazine.
I really like this. I love what the magazine stands for. in terms of really shining the light on women who are doing something, and contributing in their different spaces and fraternities. But let's talk about some of the biggest benefits and challenges of going fully digital compared to the traditional print.
Okay, the first, I guess, biggest challenge is the fact that we depend on the downloads, right? The purchases, each purchase. So if I download the magazine and share it as a PDF to someone else, then that means it cuts the transaction of that other person. So I think that is the main problem when it comes to digital, is that people will share the copies to a point where most people are not buying. But that can still be curbed in other ways by creating apps or creating certain identities. Each copy could have its own identity. So people can get sued for sharing copies and not buying and all that process. So there's quite a lot to learn when you get into the digital space, unlike in print. But also in print, its own disadvantages and advantages that you would have to learn when you get into that space. But for us, yeah, that is the first challenge. The second challenge was setting up the page, the website where people buy, because it's an international website. People used to see the money in dollars rather than in rands, and it used to intimidate people a lot. So I ended up having to send a lot of emails to the website, to the creators of the website, to have them change it. And luckily they did. After a few months, they did change it. So now our buyers can see the money in rands rather than dollars, and it doesn't intimidate them much. So this space, because it's still new, you have to open yourself up to learning a couple of things and making some mistakes. The best way to learn, we all know, is through experience. I mean, we can talk about this and explain to people about AI and technology and how great it is for business. But what matters is, are you going to try it for yourself? And are you going to see where you can learn, where you can improve, and how it can work for you? But, for us, we take the challenges and we make them an opportunity for us to get to know something or solve a bigger problem in the business.
Kabelo, tell us about the reader's habits, because we live in a fast-paced digital world. Everything is accessible. We are on TikTok most of the time. Our attention span is decreased a lot since the printed media days. Talk to us about their habits. Are they, in terms of the structure of the magazine, do they read a lot more? Do your magazines embed videos and multimedia on it to cater to the growing market who have a very short attention span? Tell us about some of these reader habits that they have.
In terms of reader habits, I think the basic is that readers are readers. Like, we all know people who love books, who love reading. I'm one of those people. You can't take away the culture of reading from somebody who already instilled it in themselves. So we have a lot of readers, but also we know that people read less nowadays because of technology and because of a very short span, concentration. These days, people want to see TikTok videos and get it over and done with.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that people who read really read, and people who love magazines really love magazines. Like I said, the whole magazine industry is ran under this nostalgia thing. It's people who love a certain vibe, and you can't take that away from a person. So that's why I'm saying, even if the landscape of print and digital keeps changing, I feel like the fact that people love magazines and love reading will never change. It's like music and CDs and CDJs and people who collect those things. You can't take that away from people. So it's that thing. As much as the I guess the situation is changing around the world with people and their brains and how they, grasp information, because there's a
Right.
lot of information right everywhere. People is talking about everything, but in the magazine we try to make it sweet and short, and we try to create content that is very interesting, from the images to the copy itself to the quality, because me and the team, we put ourselves in the standard of the likes of Vogue and Cosmopolitan, and every time we produce, that's what we tell ourselves, that we are working with the highest standard and we don't compromise. So it's one of those things that, but we're not perfect, we're not saying we're perfect, we learn with every challenge that comes. And like I said, because the digital space is new to all of us, we are learning as we go, and even how our readers are responding, we are also responding to them and what they are saying to us and what they want to see and how
Right.
they want to see it. So we adjust, and it's interesting now that some magazines are starting to contact us in order for us to help them do the things that we do. So I guess we are probably on the right track.
It's not probably, you are on the right track. It is a must for us to have our own publications on the African continent that really celebrate women. So in the pursuit of value, I hope that we'll have more do we have like another spare 10 minutes that you can give us? Because I really want to unpack just the environment and who the reader is of Sister Bosso, essentially. Can you stay on the line with us, Kabelo?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let's take a break now and head to the sports desk. Figilele Ngwati has the latest. It's 15:31.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Let's tee off with the golf news. The Scotty Scheffler, he prays on JJ Spawn after the reigning US Open champion sealed his spot on the US Ryder Cup team. Spawn emerged as the unlikely winner of the third men's major of the year with an electric birdie on the 72nd hole at Oakmont to deny Scotland's Robert McIntyre. His win came months after a heartbreaking playoff defeat to Rory McIlroy at the flagship Players' Championship on the PGA Tour. A 34-year-old will now make his first appearance for the Teams USA at this year's Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black in New York. Football news. The Confederation of African Football CAF has approved Zimbabwe's National Sports Stadium to host Category 2 international games. This was revealed on Monday by the African Football Mother Body, provided an update on homologated and non-homologated stadia around the continent. Although the National Sports Stadium is not yet in Category 1 to host the Warriors International Games, the ground qualified under Category 2, where it can host under 23s, under 20 and under 17 AFCON qualifiers. The Giant Stadium is currently having a facelift so that it can host Category 1 games. And Bafana coach Mlefintseki expressed his relief after narrowly beating Guinea 2-1 in the second African Nations Championship Group C tie at Mandela National Stadium in Kampala last night. Ntseki, speaking to the media after the match, acknowledged the result came as a huge boost heading into the remaining two group matches against Niger and co-host Uganda.
Congratulations to South Africa to have won such an important game, because if you were to draw or to lose this game, we were to be under massive pressure. So the 4 points that we are carrying now gives us confidence and belief that we are still on the right track. And I just want to congratulate the players for the hard work they had to put into this game.
Noting how Bafana were not the better team on the day, Ntseki emphasized that his side did what mattered the most, while the Guineans walked away with nothing for their superior performance.
At the end of the day, Guinea played the game, we scored the goals. And what is important for us was to score the goals and win the game. We are very pleased with the results, but there's still a lot of work that we still need to do going into the next match. But as for Guinea, I think they came at us after we scored the first goal, which was a beautiful goal in terms of our preparation.
Let's end with tennis news. After nearly 15 years of international exclusion, the International Tennis Federation ITF has officially lifted its suspension for the Liberia Tennis Federation, the LTF, restoring the country's full rights and privileges as a recognized member of the global tennis body. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
35 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get the final business news on the upside this afternoon. Nosipo Zuma is standing by.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In your business news this hour, South Africa's Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Pax Tau, says a task team has been formed as a direct point of contact for companies affected by the 30% tariffs imposed on the country. Tau was speaking at a joint media briefing with the Agriculture Minister, John Steenhuisen, in Pretoria earlier today.
Cabinet has endorsed the economic response package that includes the establishment of an export desk, which serves as a direct point of contact for affected companies.
Independent economist Elias Kruger says South Africa's muted economy growth is resulting in negative employment outcomes. This, as the latest data released by Stats SA, shows that unemployment increased from 32.9% in the first quarter to 33.2% in the second quarter of 2025. The data shows that although 19,000 new job opportunities were created in the second quarter, the labor force increased by 159,000. The data shows that, according to the expanded definition, unemployment decreased from 43.1% in the first quarter to 42.9% in the second quarter. Kruger comments.
So this is really, I would say, negative news. It shows us that with an economy growing at, say, 0.6% quarter on quarter in the second quarter, it is way too low to sustain our labour force, and it is way too low to make a dent in our unemployment rate.
The African Civil Aviation Commission has called on African leaders to create new opportunities for the next generation in the aviation sector. The Commission made this call at the third Next Generation of Aviation Professionals Global Summit at the Durban ICC in South Africa. The three-day event started today. The Commission Secretary General Adefunke Adiemi.
The world of global aviation needs our African youth. ICAO tells us that over the next 20 years, aviation globally is going to almost triple in its size.
Meanwhile, Secretary General of the International Civil Aviation Organization, Juan Carlos Salazar, has emphasized the importance of collaborative efforts in order to reach the 2050 goal of delivering a vast and successful air connectivity globally.
This vast and evolving workforce requirement precisely why the Next Generation of Aviation program, the NGAP, is a high-level priority under the ICAO's long-term strategic plan for the year 2050.
And finally, oil prices have ticked higher after U.S. President Donald Trump extended a pause on implementing tariffs on Chinese goods for a further 90 days. Trump signed an executive order on Monday to continue the truce until the 10th of November, with Beijing also announcing an extension of its tariff pause for another 90 days. The truce was set to expire today, but this latest extension means that the U.S. will maintain its 30% tariffs on Chinese imports, and Beijing will hold its 10% levy on U.S. goods. Your financial indicators: one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 532, and Botswana it's 13 bula 40. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 54, and in Zambia is 23 kwacha 22. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 44. Russia is 79 rubles 40. India it's 87 rupees 62. China at 7 yuan 19, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 74. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, the gold is trading at $3,346 and platinum at $1,333 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $66.81 a barrel. Now, for any business news stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Nosipho Zuma.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. 9 to 12 midday Central African Time. On the move with Palisa Tau and Benjamin Mushata.
Should influencers be expected to be impactful in society? If there is a social or societal conversation that goes up, should we be waiting eagerly to hear what the influencers have to say?
They are more than just entertainers. They are thought leaders to some certain degree. They influence culture. They influence people's thought processes. They set trends. They shape opinions of people. And the sad reality is, although a lot of them don't want to accept it, I think we're getting better with them realizing that embarking in that journey and in that space comes with a certain level of responsibility.
I see it differently in that, professionals are already good at their job, but there is an optionality that they might have to use the position that they hold in society to be able to deliver a message. This year you made the example of actors and actresses. So the same could apply to a sportsman. Just because someone's good at soccer doesn't mean that they have to have an influence over society from a specific standpoint.
Keeping you on the know and on the move.
Well, the SABC is pleased to announce the launch of the new self-registration platform. Vendors wishing to do business with the SABC can self-register on our internally developed platform. Vendors are able to access this platform on our website, www.sabc.co.za/SABC, under the e-tenders or self-register tabs, and follow the prompts. Visit SABC social media pages for more details.
Whatever you want to hear about today's talk, you can get it on the Upside.
All right, we're back in conversation looking at the digital era for publications. We're essentially talking about the evolution that is reshaping not just how news is delivered, but how it is produced, how it is funded, how it is being experienced by you and I as its readers, because it's now being led by technology, isn't it? So there's a lot of changes that we're seeing in this landscape. In conversation right now with Kabelo Mablomo in her capacity as the founder and editor-in-chief of Sister Bosso. I feel like that the title of the publication needs like a jingle of its own. It's so beautiful, it's so hip and happening. Kabelo, welcome back. Thank you so much for giving us extra time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's talk about the ways in which technology has enabled more interactive and real-time news experiences. Because as much as, I've seen you kind of promote the publication on social media. Not everybody wants to be there. We don't always want to be on Instagram. We don't all want to be on Facebook. So how are you using technology to enable an interactive space on the actual publication?
So it is quite tricky to have a digital platform and not have it tied to social media at this point. Otherwise, we have a website on the side where people normally go and access. But right now, we have been playing around with the idea of collaborating with people who can allow our readers to experience the magazine at events. So I can't say much about that because the team is still playing around with those concepts, but we wanted to bring the magazine to the people. Like you were saying, not everybody wants to or can be convinced via social media to go look at the magazine. But if they experience it live, digitally so, they would want to go on the internet for themselves and experience it. So we're still playing around with the concept of how can we take the whole digital experience to live events, that people can experience the magazine at a live event. And that's going to be something exciting, but I can't say much about that currently. So that's to say as well, more brands must be willing to use technology and resources, let's just say resources that they have to further amplify the business. You don't have to be distributing in one particular way. You can use many ways to distribute. And for now, we have been trying to take the magazine a bit international so that honestly we can make more money, because when we look at our the more buyers who buy in dollars, the more money we make. So we're trying to get the magazine positioned in places where international buyers can be able to buy and fund the magazine so that we can be able to further the mission of the magazine itself. Because if there's no funds coming in, we can't say we're a voice for women when most people are not even reading the publication. So we need to get ourselves out there and be seen by as many eyes as possible. So yeah, technology and AI has been some of the things that we have been experimenting with the team. Some people are much slower than others to catch up and make peace with the fact that we are at that stage, but we are there now.
Could we see a Sister Bosso podcast soon, perhaps?
It's a great idea.
Should I say there is a podcast? There is like this interview we're having now, there's a few interviews that I've had that I've posted as podcasts, but not particularly a podcast where I've had conversations with women, because most of them, these interviews, some of them, they take time to, like Mmatsheko can tell you about this. It happens in a different way, how these interviews with these women happen. Some of them, they happen through many, many days, and sometimes it's not easy for me to compile them into one, rather than it's easier to compile, audio rather than to compile copy. It's easier to compile written work than it is to compile audio. Well, for me at least, but I feel like in the future we should have Sister Bosso podcast. We've been playing around with that. The branding is ready, the hosting is ready on Spotify. We've been posting a few episodes, but not in-depth conversations with women particularly.
Okay. Look, clearly the possibilities are endless. So let's take a quick break. When we return, I really want to talk about the publication, and celebrate the work that you've done so far. I think it's very easy for people that aren't doing anything to sit at the back and nitpick at, what other women are doing. So let's celebrate you. Let's talk about, what the pursuit of value is for Sister Bosso for the now and the future, and other wonderful things that are going to be coming up to add on to what you've already mentioned. We'll be right back.
Vue d'Afrique avec Joël Mouteba.
Cette peur d'un point de non-retour nucléaire suffit-elle selon vous à légitimer une telle offensive, Monsieur Talasi?
Absolument pas du tout. Cela fait plus de 30 ans que l'Israël crie haut et fort sur les toits, où il veut se faire entendre que l'Iran serait à 1 an pour obtenir l'arme nucléaire. Parfois, l'Iran serait à 6 mois. Parfois, l'Iran serait à 2 semaines pour obtenir son arme nucléaire. Et curieusement, jusqu'à ce jour, il n'y a toujours aucune preuve que l'Iran a obtenu cette arme nucléaire en dépit des déclarations d'Israël et de certaines puissances parfois.
Vue d'Afrique. Du lundi au vendredi de 15h à 16h, temps universel.
We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628.
10 minutes to go till it is 4 p.m. Oh my goodness, already 4 p.m. in Central African time. This is the grand finale of our show for the Tuesday of the 12th of August, in conversation with Kabelo Mablomo, editor-in-chief and founder of Sister Bosso magazine. So Kabelo, talk to us about Sister Bosso. We've talked so much about the technical elements, putting it together, what your methodology is, how you view technology, how you view the digital space, international, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about the publication. Tell us about Sister Bosso, you founding it. What was the inspiration? What is the magazine about as you and I speak?
All right. Sister Bosso was founded in 2021, and it's basically the brainchild of me being a graphic designer, because I'm a self-taught everything. I don't have any qualification. I'm self-taught graphic designer. I'm a content strategist. I do digital marketing, social media management, and other things that I learn along the way. So this magazine was born out of a love for visual arts and graphic designing for me, and digital marketing. So when I started with the visuals, I didn't have a clear concept of the name. And while I was talking to the first cover, because before I even knew the layout, I already knew who I wanted on the cover, and I was already talking to the lady. So because of the conversation and the inspiration of what was happening that time, because I guess I was coming out of after being a mom, kind of depression phase. So it was like I was rediscovering myself as a woman, as a boss, as an entrepreneur. And that's where the name came about. And we had our first issue, which was, I think, about 21 pages. And now we go to about 130 something pages, depending on the content and what it is that we are talking about. So the magazine, every month there's a theme. We theme it around a particular subject, like the August one is the beauty issue. So we are talking about Women's Month from a beauty perspective of what it means to be a beautiful woman, celebrating yourself as an African Black woman, your skin. We talk about makeup. We talk about tips on how to care for your skin and everything beauty. And talk to women who inspire us in that way. So the magazine has articles in it. Articles are written on particular topics, and then the magazine also has features in it where we've spoken to women like you who tell us their stories and what it is they're about, their challenges, and everything that makes their world.
Okay.
So yeah, the magazine is designed by me. I am the graphic designer and the layout designer. I just onboarded a couple of team members who are helping out. So yeah, the team is growing, and it's not easy, but it's worth it.
It is worth it. It's definitely worth it. Anything that you pour love into is never going to be easy, but it will be worth it. Okay, we've got to wrap up the conversation now. So in 30 seconds, in fact, in 20 seconds, where can we find the publication if we're interested in purchasing and subscribing?
Okay, so everything is Sister Bosso Magazine. If you go and search Sister Bosso Magazine, whether Facebook, Instagram, or social media, even Google, you'll find our website where you can buy the magazine for 50 rand and support us. Yeah, and right now the magazine is the main sponsor for the Northwest Fashion Week, which is happening in October in Mafikeng.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we are very, very proud of it. It's one of our first biggest collaborations. We are doing all of the creative designing behind the Northwest Fashion Week and the production. So it's quite exciting. And yeah, that they can check us out on Sister Bosso Magazine everywhere on the internet. You will find us. Yeah.
Love it for you.
Love it for you. Love it for you, Sister Bosso. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and all the best with the publication. May your star continue to shine. The voice there of Kabelo Maplomo, Sister Bosso Magazine founder and editor-in-chief. She's also the Northwest Fashion Week creative director, telling us how print media are adapting to the ever-changing digital landscape we find ourselves in. And it's now time for us to introduce the one and only, the Queen of Africa in business, Tami Ngubeni. Good afternoon, Tami Ngubeni. How are you doing this afternoon?
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Shall we just make sure that we are good and safe and make sure that they're all where they're supposed to be? I'm awesome. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Brilliant conversations we've been having today.
That Sister Bosso is bossing.
She's been bossing,
She's been, right?
Because we were having the conversation about print media and how they are adapting to the ever-changing digital landscape. But when last did you buy a newspaper? When last did you buy a magazine?
You're hurting me. It's very personal for me.
Is it?
Very personal. I used to edit Oprah magazine.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, I used to be the editor for Oprah magazine, and obviously I still love the written word. And so just to see how everything has changed, and there's still nothing that beats actually having a keepsake. Because that's actually one of the things where you've got a magazine that has content that is reusable, that is relevant.
Yes.
You know, I was one of those who had libraries of these, and so it's an era gone by, but you know.
We adapt.
But we adapt. And you use the platforms of 100%. The generation and the platforms of the day in order to still communicate the message and get it across.
I wonder if people still share the same sentiments that you do, because, our attention spans have, not ours, I'm generalizing now.
Theirs.
Attention spans have shortened, so reading is no longer a big thing, and I don't want to drive to a shopping center or a store to buy a magazine. I can just download it on my phone. And when I do download the publication, it must have a video link, because I don't want to just read the whole time. So I don't know I don't know if many people still share those sentiments. The new age, anyway.
Yes,
the older generations.
Perhaps.
I love it. I love a magazine and a physical hard copy.
And it really is a loss, I believe, because it's something that you can actually pass down to the next generation. Just the joy of reading, and just what it does to you and for you, and even as far as comprehension is concerned, retention is concerned, and being able to adequately, enunciate and really express yourself. There's nothing like the written word.
100%.
But anyway, that's not what we hear about
What's
today.
coming up on Africa in Business?
Not very good news, I'm afraid, as far as the unemployment stats are concerned. Those have been released, and the unemployment figures in South Africa have risen once again. We now have 8.4 million South Africans who are unemployed. So we'll be going through those statistics with Nkosinathi Mahlangu, who's the head of the Youth Employment Portfolio at Momentum Group. Also, we know that the youth are the most affected demographic as far as unemployment is concerned. And as you know, infrastructure development, and perhaps more specifically the financing of infrastructure development on the African continent, has been very central and key to all economic conversations, even so within the G20 and the finance group. This afternoon, we'll be focusing on Kenya's efforts on raising funding for their infrastructure projects, not only roads, but the new expansion of the airport in Nairobi, the new airport. They've been looking at China, Japan, as well as Africa. That's just part of what we've got in store for you.
Well, looking forward to it. Africa in Business with Tami Ngubeni from the Upside team. Mmatsheko Mosito.
There she is at the back. I wish you could see. Well, you can't see her, so I'm going to do it on her behalf. I think this is what she did. She's like, Nombuyiselo
Tango, our producer. On technical, we've got Mr. Tato. We should actually have you on What Caught Your Eye. And you always have something to say about these conversations that we have. But Africa in Business is coming up next from us, the Upsiders. Have a fantastic evening. Good afternoon, Africa.
The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Only on Channel Africa.